Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now. I am Tom Downey, here to break down the latest news and rumors around Minnesota, from a pretty wild Baker Mayfield idea down to some updates on Lewis Cine and Za'Darius Smith. But first, it is a like challenge month here at Chat Sports. The channel with the most likes gets the big prize. We have a very long way to go on Minnesota Vikings Now. And if you are a true Vikings fan, show it by liking the video right now. Could Baker Mayfield come to the Minnesota Vikings? ESPN's Dan Graziano had spoke with some unnamed alleged NFL executives, and they were speculating about potential destinations for Baker and Jimmy Garoppolo. And one of the non-favorite kind of dark horse teams mentioned by ESPN was the Minnesota Vikings as a potential fit for Baker Mayfield. Now, there's an obvious condition involved here that Baker Mayfield won't start this year. It was pitched as a Jameis Winston style, where he goes to a team and then becomes a starter down the road, there are some issues with this that I think ESPN or the executives forgot about. Here was what Dan wrote for ESPN on the Vikings and Baker as a destination. Quote, "They're set this season with Kirk Cousins, but could move on from him after the year. This is an example of a place where Mayfield or Garoppolo wouldn't start right away, but could position himself as the team starter in 2023, the way Winston did with the Saints in 2020. Issue number one here, even ignoring the player side of it, is that the Vikings can't really dump Kirk next year. If they were to cut him before June 1st, they would incur a $12-ish million cap charge on top of what he's making next year. If they cut him after June 1st, they save $0, which is not saving anything. Now, they could trade him, sure. I don't know who would be desperate to trade for Kirk Cousins in this particular scenario. Would be, we're going to make Baker our guy. Who wants Kirk? Well, then nobody wants Kirk, and that drives down the value. We've seen the exact same issue with Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco and Cleveland, with injuries, of course, playing a part in that. In a bubble, the idea of adding Baker Mayfield is fairly appealing. You're looking into adding somebody who, in 2020, showed top 10 quarterback ability, then was a disaster this past season. I am down for Baker, not in a trade, if he's cut. If Baker were to be released by the Minnesota Vikings, or by the Browns, and says, yes, I will sign a cheap one-year deal in Minnesota, sure, I'm down. That makes a lot of sense. But does Baker want that? This is the ultimate, sometimes forced, chip on the shoulder guy. Becoming a guaranteed backup isn't a great way to light a fire under yourself and prove the Browns are dumb. But he would be an upgrade over Sean Mannion, a better potential long-term guy than Kellen Mond certainly is, and Nate Stanley also exists. So when it all is said, would you trade for Baker Mayfield? Type in T for yeah, you trade for him, or type in P for pass. Let me know in the comments section which route you would go. Let's look now at the best off-season move for the Minnesota Vikings. CBS Sports ranked each best move by each NFC team this past off-season, and they went with Za'Darius Smith, the signing, which I am inclined to agree with. The Packers had released Smith. He was going to go to the Minnesota Vikings, or to the Ravens. He had a deal in place and then went, wait a minute, I'm taking not enough money, and ended up going to Minnesota for a still pretty fair deal. Here's what CBS Sports wrote. In what was quite the coup from Minnesota, they were able to stick it to the rival Packers by convincing Smith to not leave the division in 2022, with offers from several teams, including the Cowboys. It's not true. On the table, Smith joining the Purple People Eaters not only gives him a shot at facing his former team at least twice per season, but also adds some serious firepower opposite Danielle Hunter. If Smith can remain healthy this coming season, he has proven ability to change games with his play, and the pass rush tandem is one the Vikings can certainly look forward to harassing opposing quarterbacks with. It's always nice to stick it to the Green Bay Packers, so everyone have some fun at their expense. Type in FGB in the comments section. You should know exactly what that stands for. The Smith edition, as far as I'm concerned, was a smart one. by Minnesota. They needed a pass rusher in a big-time way. Yes, they've invested in recent early-ish draft picks, DJ Wanham, Patrick Jones, Za'Darius Robinson. You've got, of course, the medical issues, concerns, injury history with Hunter and Smith as well. But when they're both healthy, those guys are awesome. That is one of the healthiest, if not when healthy, one of the best pass rushing duos in the NFL. Smith was hurt for pretty much all of last season, was impactful in the lone playoff game, which he came back for Green Bay, and has been a double-digit sack guy and an upwards of 15 tackle for loss player in back-to-back years, his previous 2 years when healthy. Smith and Hunter, 1B, 1A, because I think Hunter's better, should thrive this year for the Minnesota Vikings. This should be a team that is able to generate pressure with their edges and benefit in a big-time way. So how excited are you for Za'Darius Smith? Scale this for me, 1 to 10. 1 being you are hyped at, or you're not hyped at all. It's going to be a disaster, which is weird. 10 meaning he's going to be a great football player. Sound off for me in the comments section. Let's move now to Lewis Cine as he got reps with the first team during minicamp at long last. OTAs, the Vikings had not given Cine that opportunity, but he lined up next to Harrison Smith with the starters at free safety. It was a matter of time for this. Cine was a first-round pick, the only first-round pick by Minnesota, back end of round 1 in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Vikings, like so many teams out there, were doing the you've got to prove it type of thing when it comes to their rookies, not giving them instant reps with the ones. Looks like Cine earned it during OTAs. It was a matter of time for Cine to emerge as the quote-unquote starter at safety for Minnesota. And I do fully anticipate multiple safety looks for this team. Go light at linebacker, go heavy at safety, because in 2022, you're going to face more opposing passing offenses that are dynamic than needing that extra linebacker out there. You want to be able to help cover tight ends? Easier for a safety to do that than for a linebacker. So you will see Cam Bynum, but Cine is a really good football player. He's a top 32 player for me in this class. Great athletic ability, smart, instinctive player as well, and is certainly not afraid to lay the lumber either. Now, I'm not out on Cam Bynum. I like him as a football player in the very limited sample size we've seen of him so far. But I do want you guys to pick a safety too. Who would you rather start? Because, of course, you're going to play Harrison Smith. LC for Lewis Cine or CB for Cam Bynum. Vikings rookie jerseys are on sale, including Lewis Cine. He's rocking the number 16 right there. Get yours today at chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. That link, by the way, will be in the comments section and it will be in the description of today's video. The Vikings had brought in some competition this offseason at the kicker spot, hoping maybe Greg Joseph wasn't going to be the guy. Well, it appears that rather quickly, it is going to be Greg Joseph, as they have cut undrafted free agent kicker Greg Burchick, I think I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, out of Oklahoma. He didn't do well enough in the end. There were people who thought he should be drafted. Well, he's already out of the Vikings. He has been cut and waived, paving the way for Greg Joseph to truly be this team's kicker in the 2022 season. Folks, if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe at youtube.com/Vikings today. If you're watching somewhere other than YouTube, that link will be in the comments in the description, but you're probably watching on YouTube. So instead, simply hit that big red button right now.